Welcome back, friends. Today we're going to be making a special soap. It's our wild lavender soap. This is a soap that we made for our seasonal collection a few years ago. And in that collection, we did something really fun. We played around with colorants. And so this soap has a clay and a botanical combined together to make a really amazing purple. You'll see in a sec. All right, welcome back. As always, I have my oils already prepped. One of these days we'll do a video where I actually show you prepping my oils. But as I've mentioned in previous videos, these oils are all from a custom drum that we get. So right now we're actually not mixing these up ourselves. But our drum is running pretty low right now. So once that's done, I'll show you how we measure out our oils. Anyway, we have all of our base oils in here. We have some coconut milk, which we'll be adding to this soap. And in the last video, the coconut and rose video, I talked about this particular brand of coconut milk, which we get from Amazon. And we don't measure this out because it's approximately the right amount of coconut milk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my coconut milk right in there. And this, by the way, is called the milk and oils method. We're going to be doing a video in a little bit about making a goat milk soap and exactly how the milk and oils method works. But basically, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's you put the milk in with the oils. A lot of people make milk soaps by making milk ice cubes. We don't do it that way. Milk ice cubes, and then you add the lye to the milk ice cubes. What we do is we use half of our liquid to mix our lye water and half of our liquid, which is our coconut milk in this case, in with the oils. So we just put them right in there. And all of our recipes, by the way, if you buy one of our recipes online or if you are going through my book, you'll see that we always do it this way. So this is standard for how we make soap here at Muddy Mint. It's not how every soap maker does it. There's a lot of different ways of doing things, and you should try to figure out what works best for you. But I love putting everything into my oils because I don't like to think about what I'm doing, you know, once the batter is getting thicker and I'm like stressed out because I need to get pouring right away. I like to put everything in right now. So, all right, the next thing we're going to do is our essential oil blend. This is a really incredible essential oil blend. It's probably the most requested essential oil blend that we get. I mean, a lot of people want to know how to make this blend, and we will have this recipe up for sale on our website. So if you're interested, you can go check it out. So this soap is called Wild Lavender. So this is lavender, obviously, with a blend of other essential oils that make it kind of feel a little bit more like a lavender plant in the wild, you know, in the forest. It's really, really nice, actually. It's kind of an unusual lavender scent. So this color right here is a combination of purple Brazilian clay and sandalwood powder. Now, individually, these clays look like this, or these colorants look like this. This is sandalwood powder, which is this beautiful, it's actually called red sandalwood powder. It's this beautiful red color, and we get this from Star West Botanicals, by the way, if you're interested in finding it. And then we have this purple Brazilian clay that is a clay. Now, this is not colored with anything. This is just the natural purple of the clay. So combining these two together give us this kind of darker colored purple that has a little bit of flecks in it because sandalwood powder is actually exfoliating. So that's something that you probably want to know before you make this soap, that it is an exfoliating soap, and that's because of the sandalwood powder, which adds exfoliation to your bar. Now, if you don't want to have an exfoliating bar, because a lot of people don't like exfoliating bars, the way to do that using the exact same ingredients is to infuse your oil with the sandalwood powder. So that'll help impart the color into your soap without having all of that scratchiness. I love smooth bars, but I also really like this bar, particularly for my legs, because they get kind of itchy a little bit because I shave them. So this is a bar of soap that's really nice. And also, if you have an exfoliating bar and you don't like exfoliation, you can just turn it in your hands and get that nice lather going and then use the lather to wash yourself. So just a little tip. You guys probably already knew that. But anyway, I'm going to put this colorant in here. This soap was part of our spring collection a little while ago, and in that collection, we experimented with a lot of clays and plant-based colorant combinations. I haven't seen a lot of soap makers combining colors, except for maybe for green. I think it's pretty common to combine colors to get a green because that's a tough color to get. But it's super fun to use a clay because a clay is extremely stable in soap. And then the plant-based colorants sometimes are not as stable. And so if you can sort of anchor your color with the clay and then add a plant-based colorant that's similar in color, then that really helps kind of make your colors pop. And this sandalwood powder, even though it's this gorgeous red color, it actually ends up purple in soap. And it's sort of, you know, pretty dramatic actually when you add the lye in here, which you'll probably see in a second, but it's a really beautiful colorant to use. So we get our sandalwood powder from Star West Botanicals, as I said. They used to sell it on Brambleberry and some of the other soap making websites, but I haven't seen it on there lately. And then purple Brazilian clay, unfortunately, is no longer available on Brambleberry. I actually reached out to them to find out if they would get it back, and they're not. Supposedly the mine has closed. So I got my batch of purple Brazilian clay from Voyager Soap and Candle, and I got 2 of these bags just to make sure we had some for some of our soaps that we're making. So if you are looking for purple Brazilian clay, at the time of this recording, they did have some of this available. So make sure you stock up because it might be gone. This company, by the way, is in Canada, but I found the shipping to be quite reasonable. So, all right, so we got our oils, we got our coconut milk in here, we have our essential oil, and we have our color. So that's all the check boxes have been checked. And I'm gonna blend this up. There we go. All right, now that I've blended this up, you can see the purple color and how pretty it is. And it is darker than just the purple Brazilian clay by itself because of that sandalwood powder. And you'll see when I add the lye how dark it gets. And then when we pour it, I always think of it as like an acai bowl. That's kind of what it looks like to me. Like that beautiful purple, but then with the speckles from the sandalwood powder. I mean, the first time I made this soap, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I was so excited about the purple, and I love this bar so much, the scent, the feel, the color, the lather, everything, that we ended up bringing it to our main product line. So it started as a seasonal scent. It was like a spring scent one year. And then we turned it into a regular soap, and it's one of our best-selling bars. We have 8 bars that we kind of call our best sellers because they kind of fluctuate. I mean, sometimes actually there's a 9th bar too that slips in there sometimes. So you'll hear me talking about that maybe sometimes. So if I say this is like a best-selling bar, it's kind of like the top 8 bars that we sold. Okay, so I'm gonna check my temperatures. This is at 96, which is great. We like to soap between 85 and 100. 90 to 95 is kind of the sweet spot for us. I'm going to check my lye. This is our 50/50 lye water. If you've watched our videos before, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This one is at about 94. So that's perfect. And one of the challenges of being a new soap maker is sort of this stress of making sure that your oils and your lye water are at approximately the same temperature. I've actually soaped at them being quite different temperatures, and it hasn't really been an issue. I do find that the lower the temperature, the better. So if you've got lye that's, let's say, at 110, maybe try to have your oils, you know, at 90 instead of like 95 or 100. And then everything sort of goes a little bit more smoothly when things are cool because the batter stays fluid longer and it's just easier to work with. Okay, I'm going to get my gloves on. All right, when we make our soap, we always blend the oils and everything first. And I tend to do this quite a lot because I want the essential oils and the colorant to be well dispersed before I add the lye. The other thing that we do is I usually run the stick blender while adding the lye. And I've seen a lot of soap makers that don't do this, and it's probably fine not to. I just kind of feel like it's nice to get it blended up so the lye isn't just sinking straight to the bottom of the bucket and just sitting there. So it's kind of like starting the saponification right away during the pour. I'm going to add the rest of the lye in here. All right, and you can already kind of start to see the color change there. It hasn't quite completely changed. If you're a newer soap maker, you can kind of see these streaks, and that helps you identify whether something is coming to trace or not yet. Sometimes these color differences kind of show that you've got oil still in there and lye that are separate. Once that color is completely homogeneous, then you know it's ready. All right, this already feels kind of thick. I can tell just by stirring with my stick blender. I don't have it on right now. I'm just stirring and it already feels thick. And this might be because of the essential oil blend. All right. All right. So this is a very simple soap. It's just a one color soap. A lot of our soaps are just one color. We tend to use either just one or two colors. But this is a really beautiful bar. Okay, and it smells so good too. All right, let's get our molds ready. This is 10 pounds of soap, by the way. Got my molds here. And pour this right in. Okay. We pretty much fill our molds right to the top because we're trying to get as big a bar as possible for our customers. The only disadvantage of filling them this high is that, you know, if you didn't have a texture on here, it'd be fine. You could cover these loaves up pretty easily. But because we like to make a texture, our texture tends to go above the top of the mold. So some people have a cover for their molds. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's just a wood cover. And so if you're someone that likes to cover their soaps or their loaves, then you might not like going this high with your batter. Because right now, I could cover these. This one's sort of recessed over here, and then this one's not. So if I put a cover on that, it would definitely touch the batter. This one, it would probably work. But as you'll see, the second I put the texture on here, it's not going to work anymore. And as a newer soap maker, you kind of learn what you like and don't like. We don't find that we need to cover our molds. It kind of depends, though, on where you live, what kind of soaps you make, what your oils are like, what your batter's like, you know, that kind of stuff. Because you might find that you're not getting full gel. Gel is when your soap heats up. And if it heats up evenly on the inside, then the color, you know, where the soap heated will be nice and bright and dark. And if that heating up process doesn't go all the way through the bar, then sometimes you end up with the middle heated up and the edges not heated up. So that's what causes a gel ring. I'm sure many of you have seen a gel ring. If you're a soap maker, you've almost definitely seen one. I personally don't mind them too much, and they usually go away, actually, after a little while. Okay. This is our signature Muddy Mint top. I've been making this top for a very, very long time. Okay, and on this soap we add some lavender buds on top, just a little bit. One year we'd taken like a break from soap making for a little while. I guess it was, you know, after the holidays we'd made our soaps, and then we were so busy shipping that we didn't have time to make any soap again until January, I think. And I remember this is the first soap that we made when we came back. And then we made it and everything went fine, and we thought, oh, great. Because sometimes when you haven't made soap in a while and then you come back to it, you kind of tend to mess up a little bit, or you just forget, you know, how you used to do it. And so in this particular case, we thought everything had gone really smoothly. And then it turned out that we'd forgotten the lavender buds. But anyway, it wasn't a big deal. It's still a great bar of soap. There's like a little something here I'm going to get off. Okay, and then one of the things that I like to do so that I don't lose too many botanicals is use this little, it's not really a chopstick, it's more like a skewer. And I just kind of press really, really lightly because I don't want to change the shape of the soap texture. I just press some of the buds in. And, you know, you could spend a long time doing this, but I just go really quick. I mean, most of the lavender buds are sticking to the batter. But sometimes when there's extra in one spot, it's kind of nice to just push them down a little bit. And that way, when you cut the soap, you don't end up losing so much of it. All right, that's it. These are our first 2 loaves. We're going to make 2 more loaves off camera, but thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you'll try some combinations of colorants like that, some clays combined with something else. You know, one of the things I was thinking would be fun for a purple is like pink clay plus indigo powder, maybe. We might, you know, because this purple Brazilian clay is starting to become harder and harder to find, we might do some videos where we try out different purple colorants and just mix some things up and see what happens. Anyway, we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. Surprise, I'm back to show you the cut of the bar. This is our wild lavender. I just cut it, so I wanted to show you what it looks like. It's this beautiful purple, which may be a little bit hard to see on camera, so we might insert some photos as well. But anyway, here's the tops and the inside. All right, thanks again for watching. Bye.